Leoro.
Jeg skal have det fisk. Det er det fisk. Det er mit drug.
Okay, I was a little surprised and dismayed to find there was, in fact, no clown in the movie Klown.
Clown? I don't know.
Well, no.
I mean, these guys are clowns.
No, literal clown with makeup and climbing out of a little car and, you know.
Well, see, I thought they were so fucked up. If you are going to call him a clown, you have to like change the C to a K to emphasize how fucked up these guys are in this movie.
Well, yeah, which is what they did.
It's been a while, because it's been a while since I've seen a movie that, you know, pushes the boundaries of, you know, just what you feel is okay to look at on a movie screen.
It's kind of like the Danish Hangover.
It really, there's a lot of similarity, and y'all missed the Q&A when we saw this after the fact because you had to run, but they have already licensed this to the production company and the director of The Hangover for an American remake.
Oh yeah, you know,
okay.
I did read that,
okay,
and I'm not surprised.
Well, gosh, it's almost kind of redundant at this point.
Yeah, like Danny McBride's going to be involved in some fashion. I don't know, which is not surprising. But I was like, let's see, Danny McBride as the like kind of dumber character, and what's his name from Limitless and all that.
Jeez.
From The Hangover.
I think you want to say Brad Garrett, and that's not it.
Bradley Cooper.
Bradley
Cooper is the guy who's trying to get as much tail as possible.
Yeah.
And I'm like, I could totally see that happening.
Yeah, but except Danny McBride always plays a character who's trying to get as much tail as possible.
Yeah. I'm just wondering how much kid dick is going to actually be shown in this movie.
that might be the stopping point.
Yeah.
Probably significantly less than in this one. But to go to this is from Alamo Drafthouse Films. I think this is their fourth release. Their last one was Bullhead, which we liked.
Okay.
But gave like a matinee, I think, too.
Yeah, I liked it to different degrees.
But their thing is that they try and take movies that are like would never have gotten like a wide release unless Tim Lee gets gone.
Look, it's movies that y'all are never going to see unless you listen to Spill and we tell you about them.
I know. I keep wondering. Wow, I wonder how long this whole Draft House film is going to last.
I wonder that too. I'm like, at some point, it's like, hey guys, we need to make some money.
Well, they're actually apparently doing quite well. I mean, Bullhead got nominated for Best Foreign Film at the Academy Awards, so they're doing pretty damn well.
Yeah.
Like, their Blu-rays are selling like crazy. I mean,
okay.
Hey, man, criticize as you will, but there's a large population.
If you say so, buddy, yeah.
I mean, out of all their films, like, Bullhead, kind of on. I love the FP, but I realize it's not for everybody.
Yeah, I wasn't the world's biggest fan of Four Lions, but I know lots of people love that movie.
Yeah, I never saw that one. But I would say of all their films, this is the one that's probably the most accessible.
Yeah, I mean, it certainly is, and it's it's a Danish film, and it's the
subtitled.
It's the topper to a 60-episode television series,
which makes it seem like these guys are like the Danish version of the Trailer Park Boys.
Yeah, I definitely
that's what I got. Yeah.
But what you have here is two friends who are very different, played by stand-up comedians. Frank, I'm going to say their names wrong. Frank Hvam, Hvam.
Yeah, that's how they said it in the movie, too.
And Casper Christensen. And they're talking about setting up their annual trip that they do together that that one of them, I guess it was Casper was the more outward one, right?
Yeah, I think so.
Yeah.
It's their Tour de Pussy.
Tour de Pussy.
Yeah, their annual canoeing trip out to Whore Island.
Yeah. Exactly. Where like supposedly this
one buddy,
run by apparently a guy who was playing himself, and he's a really famous music writer.
That's the thing. All throughout this movie, it seemed like there's a lot of people who are celebrities in it. They were like, "Oh, look, this is a celebrity cameo." I'm like, the Danish, I have no idea.
Almost every extra character.
Well, let's get back to going to Whore Island again.
Yeah. If you went to Denmark, if you're from Denmark, you will love all the cameos. If you're from anywhere else, you'll be like, who the fuck are those people? But it doesn't really matter. They decide they're going to go on this canoe trip and like to get away from each other's significant others and to go out and have sex with like the world's best prostitutes.
Oh, that's right, because this old rich guy, he gets this house and he imports prostitutes from all over the world.
Once a year.
The buffet, yes, the buffet palace of prostitutes. Yes.
But are you suggesting that Buffet Palace is the best buffet in the world?
Well, yes. it has a lot of Thai food. So
there is that. But while this is getting ready to happen, Frank finds out that his girlfriend is pregnant, and is considering an abortion and leaving him because she's like, look, you're just not father material, which he's not.
No, that's the funny thing where he's like, what? How could you say that?
Yeah.
And the more you get to know this guy, you're like, dude, she's being nice by telling you you're not father material.
Well, the whole time I was thinking, who says you're the fucking perfect girlfriend? Where you're actually going to have a debate with me whether or not you want to keep my kid?
Well, 2 minutes before that, he was saying, man, I fucking hate kids. What, I want to run in kindergarten? I'm not having kids. And then he finds out the choice might be out of his hands. He's like, hey, I want my kid.
You don't need to be a dick about it.
And he's surrounded by a bunch of asshole friends, especially his best friend.
Yeah. Like Casper is like not sympathetic at all to his situation, especially when he's put in charge of babysitting. I guess it's his nephew. I wasn't sure.
I thought it was his nephew.
His 12-year-old nephew, the nephew of his girlfriend. I'm sorry.
Okay, it's her nephew.
So because he wants to prove that he can be a good dad, so he literally kidnaps this kid to bring him on this canoe trip.
Right. It's like, hey, take him to his grandmother's house. Like, no, instead of that, I'm gonna take him on our canoe trip.
Which is
he's going on the tour de pussy.
Yeah, worst idea ever. Casper desperately doesn't want this kid there and is telling him, look, I'm sorry, like fatherhood is great and all, and I'll try and help you with that, but pussy comes first. Yeah. And he keeps saying P before F, remember?
And it's funny. I mean, if there's any moment where I felt sorry for Casper, it's that, because he's been like looking forward to this all year and talking it up, and suddenly it's like, man, it's gonna be you and me, just pussy. Yeah. Wait, you bringing a kid along? No, no, man, you're gonna fucking ruin everything. You can't do this. Well, till his girlfriend comes around the corner, and is like, what's going on? Yeah. Why can't you take the kid? What do you plan to do? Well, you got something sneaky?
Oh, that was a great scene. Yeah, that was a great scene. Just seeing him try his best. Like, he just started sweating, and he had nothing to say. But yeah, I mean, that guy who wants desperately to go on this trip is such a fucking sociopath, though. To where I was more afraid, like, man, kid, you don't want to go on that trip because that guy right there, he's getting into fucking you, dude.
And the other guy
is going to be a Serbian film all over again.
The other guy's going to be of no help because he is a blithering idiot.
He's a boob.
He is completely a moron. How do you function? And I think if there's a fault with Klown, really, was that I had a hard time warming to it at first because I didn't know who these characters were. Right. Like, Danish audiences got 60 episodes to get used to the sense of humor and kind of, reluctantly fall in love with these two idiots. Here we're starting off cold, and the movie expects us to already kind of like just be laughing at their foibles. Where I was like, man, these guys are pricks.
Yeah. I mean, I've known my share of dicks, I guess, but
I won't run with
that. Don't do anything with it. But the thing is that I was like, is this movie like trying to make me like these guys? Because I'm just like, you know what? Sure, if you're running around by yourselves, all right, I get it. But you got a fucking kid, and they're treating this kid like bad, like terrible. Where you're just like, it's funny, but I felt like, man, I feel like an ass for laughing at this shit because this guy, you want to see somebody come in and punch these guys, and at any given moment in this film, you just want somebody to like give them their comeuppance,
Well, and I think what happens in the beginning, like what you guys aren't getting that we got is like before this movie got started, we got told this is the funniest movie you're ever going to see. Yeah, and I'm like, don't do that because nothing can live up to that. Now I'm going to scrutinize it more.
I love Tim League, but he's so bad about doing
so hyperbolic,
setting his expectations ridiculously
don't do that.
High.
And when those characters are just assholes and idiots, you're like, okay, I guess if I was mean-spirited, I might like this. But what it does is like you get to see these guys as they are, like that. And then when bad shit starts happening to them, not to the kid, that's when it starts getting funny.
You're right.
Yeah, as well as I think there's a point that you accept that this is an absurd universe film. It's not supposed to be the real world at all.
Yeah.
You can just go,
I don't know.
Okay, I was able to disconnect from this and go like, okay, like you got to stop thinking these guys as real guys and think of them more like you're watching a cartoon.
Right.
Because it is very cartoonish in its way. And I think it all really, like one of the trailers they were selling it with was one of the hardest, rated R scenes in the movie where like the one character finds himself, Casper finds himself is having sex with a girl who they're staying with reluctantly, and poor Frank is in the bed next to them while they're having sex, and Casper's like, come on, fuck her too, and he's like, no, get away from me. It's like, come on, put a finger in her ass.
and that's
she made us pancakes.
and that's the one scene in this movie that sold me. on the relationship that these guys that scene kind of like established who these guys really are.
Right.
And I think that's where I was like, okay, I actually do like these guys in a way to where, they're not just one-dimensional assholes.
Yeah.
Where I was like, all right, okay, now I'm on board because you're actually showing me a reaction. You're letting me know finally what their relationship really is, the two guys hanging out together. Even though it's still fucked up.
Oh, it's
but
definitely that.
It made me laugh, you know?
Yeah. To me, it's one of those movies, I don't know if you call it a slow burn, but the longer it went on, the more I liked it. Whereas in like the first act, I was just like, well, okay, maybe it'll get better. And then the second act, when it starts to really get established, I'm like, all right, I'm laughing. And the third act, I was laughing my ass off.
The first act felt like television.
Yeah,
was part of the problem. And I'm sure it's from people who indeed were making TV for that long, so that's not terribly surprising. But then, the more it felt like a movie, which is more and more so as it went along, the better it got. And the whole last 30 minutes, I was laughing my ass off. I was like, the final blow of the film, the final jokes are so funny. I was holding my stomach laughing.
It turned into a really nice fucked up version of Little Miss Sunshine.
Right. And it was one of those things, I liken it to The Hangover, where a lot of the big punchline at the end hangs on the fact that, like, oh, here's these pictures we found, because they show you shit that, like, they hint at, but you don't really see it, and then once you see it, it's like, oh, damn!
Serbian film all over again. No.
Well, it's funny, they will have to change a lot of stuff if they remake this. I mean, like, there's Casper is such a, he's a pedophile. I mean, like, they come across these girls.
These high school girls.
You're like, well, first you're like, some hot blondes. And they're like, oh, it's a high school class. You think that's some old American film. You go, oh, okay, well, shit, now I feel like an old creepy guy. But he's like, I don't see what the problem is.
And it was kind of funny to me because nobody else really had the reaction I was expecting, because I was like, is this the kind of shit that flies over there? Like, this is okay. I'm just I'm too Americanized.
I thought that too until, like, the actual high school girls themselves are like, hey, until
they
back off.
You finally got to hear what they thought on the issue. And I was actually, okay, I'm not crazy.
It's a really funny sequence when that confrontation happens, though, and Casper's outraged that these high school girls aren't interested in fucking him after he gave them some cheap wine.
Yeah. And I have to admit, there's a moment there where it got scary. I was like, okay, what fucking movie am I watching now, Tim League? You're scaring me again, dude. I trusted you once, and you really fucked me over. But, the movie, thank God the movie doesn't go into that tone of a really creepy, fucked up, just vibe, which I was glad. I was like, please, I don't want this to be another movie where I walk out going, what in the fuck? Do I need to turn myself into the cops right now?
It dances around that, and it, like, makes you scared it's going to go too far. And for some people, it certainly will go too far.
Oh, yeah.
But I don't feel like it ever did for me. I mean, it does, it has some seriously gross out jokes in there. But they're ones I haven't seen before either. And they're pretty goddamn funny when that happens.
I thought I was going to lose it because it caught me completely off guard. Yeah. It was so funny. I was like, man, I could just laugh the rest of the night thinking back to that scene.
Well, I loved your reaction, Leon, because half the time it seemed like you were going, oh, come on, man. Really? Come on. And then, like, right after that, like, I was like, you're confusing me, Leon. You're confusing me. I don't know what to do with this movie.
Well, eventually, you just start kind of feeling bad for Frank, partially because Casper is such the alpha male in this situation. Yeah. And Frank just wants to go back to his girlfriend and be, like, have this kid with her at this point. He doesn't even know why, but he wants to. And, like, Casper's like, no, you want to get laid and have all this pussy. And Frank doesn't really want that. He's just not interested in any of this, but he's used to pretty much just doing what Casper tells him to. And you just, after a while, I kind of wanted to see Frank punch Casper in the face.
It seemed like it almost could have come to that. But it does, it has that moment where after they do something, actually one of the worst things they do, and it's Frank that does it. It does reach a moment where it's actually kind of genuinely sweet, where you're like, all right, there is some heart here. It's not just it's not just like, hey, let's laugh at how bad this is. It's like, no, it actually has some meaning to it.
That's the most difficult thing that they pull off here.
It is, because it doesn't seem like that could ever happen.
By the end of it, you're like, wow, that was strangely kind of sweet.
Yeah, I bought it,
Yeah.
Which I was thinking, okay, explain to me why these guys should even be hanging out together. And when you do, you're like, okay, these guys are meant for each other.
Yeah.
Because God knows you wouldn't wish either one of them on anyone
Yeah, exactly.
else.
It's like, you know what? Leave everyone else the fuck alone. And you guys, keep your madness, in your own little world there. Yeah.
Well, I'm going to get right to it. I did really like this, but it took me a while to feel that way. And I remember as it was over thinking, this is a movie I want to see again now feeling the way I do about these characters. Because the biggest problem was just warming to them.
Yeah.
But now that I do, I feel like I would enjoy it so much more with a second viewing. So that being said, even though like on an initial viewing, I feel like it's more of a matinee film. Like ultimately, the more I think about it, the more I like it, and I'm gonna accelerate it up to a low full price.
It's almost there for me too, because it is one like the more we talk about it now, I'm laughing out and I'm reliving it. I don't know that if I were to watch it again, if I would get the same jolt I got, because comedy is so based on the element of surprise. But I can say for sure, it did make me want to research these shows, see if I can go on some international TV site and find some of these episodes.
Well, which Draft House Films is going to be releasing those as well.
Good, because I was thinking but what if I find them and they're not subtitled? I'm just watching a bunch of 100
Well, you done fucked up then.
Yeah, exactly. But for me, it's a very high matinee.
Yeah, you know what? This for me, this was going to be a rental, but the more I thought about it, the more I actually did enjoy it. And it's those last moments that really sold it on me. But yeah, I mean, it is a fucked up, Little Miss Sunshine in a way, and I have to appreciate that. And I'd be interested to see the show to see if they actually do explore more their relationship and why these guys fucking hang out with each other. You know, what keeps this bond, not really like exploding and these guys killing each other.
What keeps either one of them having a girlfriend?
Yeah, that too. Yeah, where I'm like, I wish this movie. The only thing I wish this movie would examine more those women and how the fuck they got with these guys to begin with. Well, but maybe they explore that in the TV show. I don't know.
The funny thing is, Casper Christensen being the alpha male, he dresses stylishly and keeps himself well kempt. But the other guy, Frank Havam, in the movie, when they say like you're too ugly to come in here, you kind of look at him, you're like, yeah, dude, you kind of are.
He's like just this far from bitter beer face guy.
Yeah, exactly.
He really is.
But the actual actor sitting there in front of us, I'm like, oh, well, dude, you don't look inhuman. You don't look bad.
But it makes him it makes him memorable. I mean,
true.
He is like one of the Chris Felucci characters. What's the guy?
Yeah,
the Ren and
Chris
Stimpy
Felucci,
guy.
yeah.
He's an actual living model of
right. He could have been on Ren and Stimpy.
Exactly. Yeah. But anyway, I was gonna say I'm giving this a matinee.
Okay.
That's how I felt.
Cool. Well, I'm glad we got to see this because now we know for sure next year Spill.con's canoe trip.
Oh, yeah.
Awesome.
Yeah. I wonder which character Corey's going to play.
Oh, yeah. Right. To the Pussy 2 Electric Boogaloo.
Ja, hello.
Jeg er masser af hotel!